Wow, it's finally here. After almost 2 freaking years, it's finally here. Wow, this looks so beautiful. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be reviewing Godzilla 2000 from Hiya Toys. This would be the latest version, not the original that we saw about 1.5 years. So I'm curious to see if there's any changes with that, and we'll begin with the articulation and some issues and things that I would have liked to have seen. Through my thoughts with the figure and see if it's worth picking up or go with something else. With the articulation, so the head and the neck have 3 sections. So you're going to have movement on the head side to side. Same for the neck section and the other one beneath it. So you can look side to side, up, all the way down like this. It has really nice range of movement. The way that the engineering was done for the neck could have been done just a little bit better because it does look awkward in some situations. Now the mouth can open this much, and you have the tongue that can move up and down. Really nice details on the tongue and on the teeth, very sharp. The sculpture is very beautiful on this figure itself, and the torso area can move all the way down like this, all the way back, side to side. Let's take a look at the arms and elbows. So they can rotate this much. You have very nice articulation. You can move them in and out like that. The elbows, this much of articulation, they go in and out. They do have the upgraded articulation elbows like we've seen with the latest Godzilla figures, so that's really nice to see. You can get this figure in very interesting poses like we've seen with the movies, and obviously very dynamic as well. Unfortunately, on my figure, the hands like to pop out extremely easily. Do have some nice articulation side to side, in and out. You can spin the hands. Although, yeah, very sensitive. It's a good thing and bad thing because when you want to move the figure around, they do pop out extremely easily. And a good thing because if you want to switch the hands, it's simple like that, okay? So that's a benefit and a disadvantage at the same time. So, yeah. Now let's take a look at the thighs, legs, knees. You get the idea. So for articulation, they can kick backwards this much. They can bend forwards this much, which is the normal. I think it has really nice motion for a very thick figure on the thighs. They can go in and out this much. This is what you get. Although I feel like this upgraded articulation isn't really doing much for the figure itself. I feel like it feels limited in some way. For the tail, it has a lot of sections. This is a fully articulated tail. It's not done like the past figures where some sections had articulation and then others didn't. So it's very poseable. You can get this figure in awesome dynamic poses. Really nice articulated tail, I have to say. I have a better view of the tail and the articulation. Very nice. Although I do have to say for mine, these sections here are very stiff and they pop out a lot. What I do recommend, which I haven't done yet, but I do recommend before any type of movement, is that you heat up your figure to prevent any ball joints from breaking or anything like that. It's a really nice tip. I'm going to do that later on for the tail. I just haven't done it because it's not a big deal breaker for me, but it does have very impressive articulation on the tail. Really nice, as you can see. One of the most articulated tails, I would have to say, alongside Godzilla GMK and the original Godzilla, the classic version. And yeah, I'm very satisfied with this tail. I would have to say they did a fantastic job here. I apologize if you hear some background music. My neighbors have very loud music currently. Now let's talk about the design itself. I would have to say it's pretty damn close to 100% accuracy, but there's something about the way the head sculpture is designed that feels off about it. Again, It's almost there, but there's something, I'm not sure if it's the ears or the top road and the cheeks, that make it a little bit awkward. But I would have to say between MonsterArts and this, both of them are different versions, and I think they did a fantastic job. Although I do have to say that I love what they did with this figure. The sculpture looks beautiful. The colors, the dorsal plates are very, very beautiful. I love this color a lot. It changes when you take this out to the sun, but I will say in terms of colors, I don't think this is 100% accurate. I think they took inspiration from some images that they saw with the magazine and the concept arts, where Godzilla 2000 had that pinkish reddish dorsal plates. And then for the movie, I believe they were more purple. They were like a dark purple that shines. But that's okay. Look, I really do not mind this color. I love this and the other color. I think both of them do this figure justice. We've seen different versions of this figure for the movies and changes throughout the suit and all that. So I love it. I honestly do love it. It's very close. Not much to complain about that. I agree, Godzilla 2000. I think the Hiya Toys does it a little bit better than MonsterArts. MonsterArts is a different figure. I want to point out two things that really concern me. I've seen some reviews and some people complaining about two specific issues. When I got mine out of the package, I was very concerned I was going to have those issues. But this is mainly with the heat rate version and some cases with this as well. So the neck section for some people has become extremely loose, where it can't even hold the atomic breath. Any type of movement like this over time makes your figure extremely loose to the point where you can't really pose him facing straight forward, because the actual section here does this. It pulls your neck section and head sculpture all the way down to the point where if you try to put it back in place, it does this automatically. Issue has to be in the back, the torso. I've seen some figures become extremely loose as well, where you can't really pose them. Same issue as the neck head sculpture, where you pose them straight forward, bam, your figure does this. And I can kind of see it in my figure without me doing a lot of force. Look what it does. It's sort of loose. It seems like this has been played with, and it just hasn't because it's brand new, obviously. But yeah, I mean, you get the idea. His ball joints are not as tight as they should be, and therefore you end up having a very loose figure. Trying to pose the figure becomes very useless and stressful, and that's understandable. I think they could have done a better job. Now keep in mind, this would have to be the latest version. This is not the original everybody got. It's very noticeable when I do this to the figure, how it's not really stable. But again, besides those issues, I think this is a really great figure for anybody that wants to pick up a very affordable Godzilla 2000 with amazing details, accuracy, and the paint job is really fantastic. Even though it's not the most accurate version, I can still appreciate the beauty on this figure. I want to point out something else when it comes to details. You see the thighs, they're very detailed. Everything else looks very nice. But I noticed that on the chest, some of the details are very soft and they get lost, and you don't really have that Godzilla 2000 texture that we see in the movie. When it comes to details, this figure is very impressive, but I noticed some issues. So let me show you. On the tail section, the details are okay, especially on the thighs. They're very impressive, three-dimensional, especially here. You can see them popping out on the elbows, the head sculpture. Everything looks really nice, except when you turn this figure and you face it this way, the chest appears to be very soft. There's barely any details here. It doesn't really have that accuracy that we see with Godzilla 2000 type of texture. Very spiky, pointing outward. I don't really see that with the chest, and it looks really awkward. I noticed that some of the Hiya toys have this issue where everything else looks impressive, and then you go to a section of the figure and it's very soft, very subtle. It's either the skin texture or sometimes the dorsal plates becoming too soft. Now luckily this one has amazing details on the dorsal plates. You can actually see some texture here and on the middle section. Very nice. So that's just a thing that I noticed. Besides that, about the eyes, a lot of people were telling me that they were impressive, that they were using the glass material marble-like for Kong, and unfortunately I have to debunk that. That's not the case. this figure is not using the upgraded eyes that we saw for Oni Kong. It does have some shine. It's shiny, but that's not the material itself. It's rather the paint job. Now, if you see real quick, it kind of shines. You can definitely see that. How can you tell they're not using that marble material? Well, very easily. Look at the X Plus figures and from other companies. When you shine any type of light, they would have had that realistic look that the suit actually has, where you have a light against the eyes and you can see like the ring going around the pupil section, like the eyeballs and all that. And unfortunately, the figure itself doesn't have that. Yes, it does have a shiny effect to it, but that's more like they added too much paint, giving it that shiny effect. But it does not have that realistic marble effect, okay? I want to make that clear. I'm shining the light right here and you can see it is not marble material. I repeat, it is using plastic with a nice paint job on it. Nothing realistic. My final thoughts with this figure, Hiya Toys did a fantastic job in terms of accuracy, details, and the paint job. It's not perfect, but it's very close. And I think if they were to reissue this figure or do a upgraded version, I'm sure they can do a better job actually giving us the marble eyes effects, more accurate dorsal plates, maybe translucent with a light up feature. I think that would be pretty damn amazing and actually fix the issue on the chest and some other places. Also, the articulation system that they've been using for the latest Godzilla figures, it's a nice change, but I also believe that for this specific figure, it doesn't really do justice because of this. So when you try to turn the figure, you have very awkward gaps on the figure. Then you're left with wanting to fix those issues and doing this, which leads to this problem. That's the problem that I mentioned at the beginning of the video as well, where they've been using this sort of 3-lane system for quite some time, and it's been loose. You can definitely tell this ball joint or this section is very, very loose. So I would love to see a upgraded system when it comes to the neck and head sculpture to prevent this from happening. I think their engineering is getting a lot better, but it's not perfect. Definitely not perfect, and I think there's some improvements to be done in that section with figures, especially with Godzilla 2014. That figure is terrible with that, and yeah, you see the issue. It's hard to put the head sculpture back in because the ball joint barely fits in here. But besides that, it's almost there. This figure holds a very special place in my heart because growing up as a kid, this was the first ever movie that my brother introduced to me. This is how I knew Godzilla for the first time, besides Zilla. As a lot of people know, this will forever hold a special place in my heart. I love this design. I love the colors. I just love everything about Godzilla 2000 and beyond. And this brings me back to my childhood. This is literally my childhood right here. It gives me such a good feeling with great emotions, and I will forever remember this moment with my brother. And the sculpture itself looks beautiful. I think between this and the MonsterArts, it really depends. I think both of them look very beautiful. It depends what type of sculpture you're looking for. Personally, I think this is the more accurate version. If you're looking for a Godzilla 2000, the head sculpture, the lines, the dorsal plates, everything about it looks really nice for the price point especially. You cannot beat that. The MonsterArts is a little bit more expensive, but still, that's from a different movie. Regardless, I think both of them have their ups and downs. This seems to be done with 3D sculpting. How do I know? Because I do 3D sculpting myself. The buildings in the back, I can tell when something is 3D sculpted and hand sculpted by actual like tools and all of that, which is what the MonsterArts did. I believe Yuji Sakai did the MonsterArts version, and the details are very different from the Hiya Toys. This figure was done by one of my old friends. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I believe it was sculpted by Seto. He has done fantastic work with other figures, and I gotta love his work. He has done really amazing stuff, and I believe he his latest sculpture has to be Kaiser Ghidorah. And I did recognize this sculpture actually when the figure was first announced. I was like, wait a second, I think I know who sculpted that figure. And yes, it's actually Seto. Again, from the side profile, 100% accurate, very beautiful. When you look at Godzilla 2000 from this angle, there's something off about it. I can't really pinpoint if it's the ears, if it's the top section, or the sides that make this figure just a little inaccurate. Besides that, Seto, you nailed this figure. It is beautiful, very beautiful. I cannot wait to see what you do with Hiya Toys and other figures in the future, but you outdid yourself. Yeah, I just would have loved if they get rid of this system and do something better where the articulation is more fluid, better when you turn the figure side to side, and it doesn't really break the illusion. Anyways, guys, this is RubiGamingx. I'll catch you guys next time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos and gameplays. Make sure to actually support the video. I know this review is very old. The figure has been out for almost 2 years, but unfortunately with Cokeys and Hiya Toys, my pre-order was out of stock somehow, and I had to wait this long just to review this figure. I know the hype is not the same. The hype has died down. Everybody knows what to expect with this figure, but at least I would appreciate if people are here actually for my content, for my review, for my opinion on this figure. Thank you guys for supporting and watching. Make sure to use my discount code RubiGamingx to purchase this figure.